All right, everybody, welcome back to the All Things MSP Live, the Wednesday night live stream. And this one, we're kind of labeling it the After Dark edition because I think that the crew that we have on tonight is definitely qualifies for the fun and the antics that I expect to ensue tonight. So it should be fun. But as normal, I'm going to just, now that we've started the live stream and, you guys are all getting the notifications that we've started, I'm going to go check to make sure that we have actually started on all the different platforms. So let's see. LinkedIn. We are live streaming on LinkedIn. Let me make sure that the comments are working. Oh, and I forgot to change out my keyboard. I'm using the loud clackety keyboard tonight. All right, so there's LinkedIn, Facebook. Yep, we are live on Facebook, so we'll comment there. And finally on YouTube, yep, we are live on YouTube as well. So I did that all in a minute and a half. That never happens that way. So what am I going to talk about? I don't know. There's been all kinds of crazy stuff this week. Ran across an article on Reddit that I thought was interesting about, somebody, they had a client that just wouldn't get back to them about anything. And they finally just decided to cancel the client. But funny enough, the client hasn't even responded to their cancellation notice. So they were reaching out and trying to figure out what they should do. And a lot of great advice on there. But if you guys are already watching, go ahead in the comments. Let us know. Let me see. I do need to put a comment on YouTube, though. And it really helps if you spell correctly. Yeah, close enough. All right. It's supposed to be a capital T in YouTube, but, we'll just go with it. And then let me go ahead and pull up my comments window so that I can see and make sure the comments are coming through. And make sure that I can add them to the broadcast. Perfect. Okay, so 2 minutes to go and it looks like everything is working. Let me check. Yep, all my guests are still there, I think. Yep. They'll be coming on in a minute. Don't worry. Oh. And there we have somebody new. So let's go ahead and put them in a guest spot. Oh. Okay, well, whatever. They didn't want to be on the show anyway. All right, so we've got people commenting. Craig, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. I also knew that there would be a lot of people joining on the platforms tonight. By the way, this is the first time I have streamed this many guests at one time. So I did make sure that I rebooted. I made sure that I connected with an Ethernet cable instead of trying to do this wireless. All those things that they teach you in live streaming school, which I didn't go to, but things you learn by doing, which is half of the way most of us learned how to do this job anyway. Okay, so tonight do have some special guests. We have Henry, Timm, and the Tech Degenerates. It's going to be a great group. I have had the pleasure of getting to know all of these people personally, either through this life or through the events that I've gone to, and it's just a really amazing group of people. If you don't know them, you should. Because there are a lot of great mentors here, a lot of people who have done some very interesting things in the industry, people who've written books, and published them. So lots of great stuff. And yes, I am just trying to get us through the next 14 seconds. But anyway, this is going to be a fun night. So if you have one, crack one open, pour one, whatever you got. Tonight for me, it's a Sam Adams. I'm taking a little divergence from my typical whiskey. But we've hit the 000 mark, so let's get this thing started. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the All Things MSP live stream. This is the live stream after dark edition, just because I think this one is going to be extra fun. And no, it's not actually starting to get dark outside. I wish it was, because then it would be really after dark. But I have a time limit on these. I really need to be done by 8. So kind of, during daylight savings time ruins that. But anyway, lots of great stuff going on tonight. Let me get my buttons up here. But, again, I really appreciate everybody who participates in the All Things MSP group. If you're not familiar with the group, we started out as a Facebook group. We have about 4,500 members in the Facebook group now. We've expanded. We've added a LinkedIn page. So if you want to find us on LinkedIn, you can go on LinkedIn, search for All Things MSP. It's a company page. Follow it. If you're not in the Facebook group, if LinkedIn is your thing besides Facebook, then use LinkedIn. For Facebook, there's a Facebook group as well as the Facebook page. So go ahead. Again, probably the easiest thing to do is search for All Things MSP. And then also, we live stream these to Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please do us the favor, go ahead, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be notified when we post new videos. Because by the way, we also post our podcast in video form over there on the YouTube channel as well. You can also, of course, find it on any of the traditional podcasters that you might listen to. All right, so that's enough of me, because this is really about community, right? And speaking of communities, there is a new community that has popped up that is a lot of fun, a lot of great, interesting people in it, and they're called the Tech Degenerates. So I have a few of them on the call tonight, and here they are. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So, Henry, you are kind of the instigator here, which I think is a very relevant word to use for this group. So why don't you kind of start off by introducing yourself and then talking a little bit about the group, and then we'll go around and everybody else can kind of contribute, and introduce themselves.
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Timm. I am an owner of an MSP in Northern Indiana. And we've been in business now 13 years. But I've been pretty active in the channel last couple of years here, attending a lot of events. A lot of people probably know me from seeing me bounce around those events. But really kind of reinvigorated in engaging the channel, I guess, in a community way. And that's kind of been my focus the last 2 years, especially here. And I think this group that's kind of organically assembled itself here is like-minded individuals that may or may not be on the MSP side of things, but have kind of come together, and we all want to see things kind of progress forwards together.
Awesome. Juan, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Juan Fernandez. Many of you guys know me. I've been on this wonderful show before. I'm coming to you live from vacation, so this is a big thing for me. I got to come to work for a little while, so my wife and family were like, yeah, we'll give you an hour to go do your thing. They've been keeping me away, but really excited to be here. I think this is a really fun opportunity to do something fun. We've assembled something very special, and there's so many wonderful people that are a part of this. And so I'm really excited to be here with this wonderful group of people to help raise the bar for community. And so this is going to be really fun tonight.
Yes, it is. Mark
Menzies. I own a managed services provider out of New York. I moved down to North Carolina actually 3 years ago. So running the business remotely has been a challenge, and even adjusting to that's been a challenge. Not having family or many friends in the geographic area, especially during that thing that happened that we don't really talk about anymore. And this group has helped me to really find my center, and to find my to find the people who make me happy aside from my family, of course, to run my business, to enable and to grow together. So excited to be here tonight.
And Mark, how did I not know you were in North Carolina?
I didn't tell anybody. The business didn't fall apart somehow. We doubled in size in the last 3 years. Yeah, I'm here. I'm moving to Indiana in a month. So yeah, that's a thing too. So you missed your chance. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe we'll have to meet up before you leave.
Absolutely.
All right. Miss Dawn?
So I'm Dawn Sizer. I run an MSP out of South Central PA with my better half, Dave. I'm a firm believer in yes, he is my better half. Absolutely. I saw you all smile, all of you. I saw that. I am a firm believer in community the same way that these guys are. And I think it's really interesting that over the last couple of years, and I think you guys, somebody else used the word organically, kind of coalesce together naturally, which I thought was kind of fun. We all became really good friends, and then this kind of happened after that. So here we are. Oh yeah, and I've been doing this gig for 18 years, so nothing new in the channel for me. So
yeah, a lot of people in here have been doing it for a while. Reagan?
It's amazing because she still looks like she's in her 20s with all those years of experience, right?
And Reagan's my new favorite.
Just like that.
Darn it.
Just like that.
And Mark, minus that drink, is 15. So anyway, it's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm Reagan Roney. I own an MSP with my brothers here in the DC area. We actually got into this business quite a while ago, supporting members of Congress, which used to be a cool thing that I don't like to admit too much anymore. But now we've gone into the private sector doing IT support and all that type of fun stuff. I've had the privilege and honor of knowing these folks for quite some time, and more of the other degenerates that aren't on this call. And it is a family. We have learned to rely on each other in so many different ways, and it's really gotten us through some difficult times, and we've celebrated some wonderful times. We love being able to expand the family and work and serve each other and be forces for good, and that's been a real treat. It's funny, recently we were kind of talking about, what is this degenerate thing, and we kind of were concerned about it having a negative connotation. So guess what I turned to? I turned to ChatGPT to find out a definition for degenerates. And even though it initially alludes to, the negative connotations and says use caution and awareness whenever using it, it did cite something that we all found pretty interesting. It said, for example, a group of tech enthusiasts might jokingly call themselves degenerates because of their extreme passion for technology to the point where it may be seen as eccentric or unconventional. So there you go. ChatGPT knows about us. And so I think that means we're legitimate now.
Yeah, because unconventional is a very good word to describe. Yeah. So a lot of great people, as expected, watching the live stream. Craig Hickman, Joshua Zuckerman, JP is in here. Diana Giles, Martin Perkins, Michael Riggs. And Degley is here. We have Degley in the house. Oh, and Roddy just showed up as well. So, and he has this comment. He says, Mark's hair is the real MVP.
I gave some hair care tips today in one of the groups. I went deep too. It was good stuff. Roddy, I appreciate you recognizing that. Thank you, man.
So who wants to chime in and kind of give a breakdown of how the Degenerates name came about?
So the name itself is my spawn, I guess. So I'll lay claim to that. Essentially, the idea was to try and poke fun at some of the overly stuffy ivory tower names and groups that are out there, that you have to do it our way. There's only one way, and you have to pay us X amount of dollars in order to, find enlightenment. And I think that was kind of our way of showing that we were not that, as well as trying to make us more relatable and humble our group, because we want people to know that yes, we're all successful business leaders, but we're also all flawed. We've all made mistakes. I continue to make mistakes, and I think there's a lot of power in owning that.
Well, and I think that's a great way to put it, because this industry specifically, in my brief amount of time here, um, I've seen a lot of change. I've seen a lot of people saying that you should do it this way or that way, exactly like you described the ivory tower syndrome, right? But the most happy of the MSPs that I see are the ones that are doing it for their needs, right? Obviously, they're providing a service, a valuable service to their clients, but they're not worrying about doing it a specific way that might get in the way of living the life they want. I mean, we even have a name for it, right? It's a lifestyle MSP. And
Sure.
a lot of people say that that's a bad word. But to me, it's not, because if you got into this business to have a certain lifestyle, good on you. Now, if that lifestyle was to build a big business and sell it off and retire, again, good on you. But it should be about what you want out of life, not, what somebody else thinks that you should want out of life. How does that resonate with you guys?
I mean, my story is a little bit different, in how I got involved with everybody. I was having a bit of a tough time, adjusting to being away from family. And I've been going to, certain events like channel company events for years. And then, started, hanging out with some people more and more. They were like-minded, but not like-minded. And, we started forming a community, maybe a little prank every now and then, Lieutenant Bones, the whole thing. And really started bonding and sharing and saying, hey, listen, like, is the goal to sell? Is the goal to do this? Or is the goal to, like, to know that we're not here for such a long time? We're here for, a good time. We're here to be there for our friends and family. And why not do something that helps to build community? These guys have helped me more than they'll ever know. And it's something that I'm proud to be a part of. And I want to bring it out to more of the population.
I think a big thing too that a lot of us embody is that we're not out for ourselves. We want to cheerlead for each other. We want to see each other succeed and be there to help others find their way to success, whatever that may look like for them. And I think that that's really what's kind of driven a lot of us to get together is this idea that there's not one way to only do that. There's so many different ways. The way Mark does business, and Dawn and Reagan and all the other members, we all approach it differently. And there's no one correct way. We're all been successful, and there's ways that we can share what's worked for us and try and help someone else get there.
Yeah. And no wrong way to necessarily solve a problem, but you all have had similar problems. And so finding out how multiple people solved them, I think, is key to the community at large. And I think that's, a spirit that you guys, because you are more MSP based rather than vendor based,
Yeah.
I think there's more of that in your community than you get in a lot of other places.
One of the big things I'll say is, I tell all of our folks, our internal core group, I'm like, look, I'm here to tell us all the ways not to screw up, because I've done a ton of that, right? I was way out in front, screwing up everything, racing as fast as I could into it. So I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on a second. Let me give you what's going to happen next. So, and I think that's what really builds the community, right? It's just like, allowing everyone to move around those stumbling blocks. And that's what anytime I look for people that are looking to learn, like those that are actually looking to want to learn how to do something or change their business or just look for a different perspective, that's the group I love to be a part of. And this is where I found synergy with these folks early on. It was like, everybody would just, may not adopt that specific piece of what you're saying, but I'm going to take that and make that a little pin in the don't do column, or maybe I may take that and do that. It's just been really fun to watch, and I think to watch watch them be successful and cheer everyone on. I think that's really what it's about. And it's been really wonderful to watch everyone just do their thing and learn fast and iterate and build great businesses. So, and that's the thing with community, it's just pushing forward to allow others to experience that. And we're seeing that with the group. Everyone's contributing and having a good time doing it.
I think
So one of
something
the
that was.
things that, sorry,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Please. I knew it. At one point, it was going to happen, and I'm like, I hope I don't ever overtalk Dawn, and then it happened.
It happened.
But that's okay because you're her favorite.
That's right.
It is.
Oh,
It's true.
That's true.
It just got
I think the one thing that freed us all is that we realized that we were never going to lose business to each other. We realized that if we were going to lose business, it's going to be something internal, right? I don't look at us losing to another client, or even if it were ever to happen to any one of the degenerates, as hey man, you came after my business. It'll always be I failed somewhere. Either my relationship wasn't strong enough, I didn't fix the tool that I needed to fix, or what have you. And once we all did that, and there's some of us that are really close business wise and have overlapping service areas. I think once we all kind of realized that, man, it just opened up the gates. Not only to not being afraid of that, but actually embracing working with each other too, and saying, hey, I can use Mark for this, or I can have Henry this and Don that, and thinking first, how can I actually create, like you guys said, growth and success together so that we rise together, because there's enough business. Even with all the MSPs that exist, and we all know how many MSPs are out there now, there is still enough business, and it's been very cool, and it's been an honor to work with these folks and to be able to feel 100% confident in referring them to clients, potential clients, or what have you. And it's been a cool feeling.
So that actually worked out really well that you went right before me, because this is teeing it up beautifully. This is why you are my favorite. So
it has been said, let it be written. All right.
Right.
Times it's been said now.
One of my favorite things about this entire group is that we all show up, and we show up authentically. And that is so important when you are sitting down to talk business and to be able to be real with everybody. Like Juan said, yep, we've screwed up. This is how we screwed up. This is how you can not screw up and do it the right way, or do it your way. Totally cool. Either way. But we all know that we're never the smartest person in the room, which is always amazing. And I love that about every single one of the degenerates, whether it's, the big group, the little group, whatever. Everybody shows up authentically. If you ask for help, there's 10 people at least paying attention and saying, that's me, I'll help. And we've never not had that. I asked for help today, and I had 10 responses in like a heartbeat. It was great. So thank you guys.
Yeah, I think just knowing all of you, you do show up as authentic. And Reagan, I want to go back a second to talk about, because you talked about something that I think, Juan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and I have talked about this before, but it's the abundance mentality that exists in this industry. And I think it's because there are so many small to medium-sized businesses out there that still need IT help, that don't even have it yet, that there's so much abundance that we don't have to cross over, right? We don't have to have that really nasty competitive environment. And so it's really great to see people actually starting to subscribe to that, because I was actually getting a little bit worried that we were going to turn a corner when a lot of people started getting into this industry just because they saw the profit margin in it. But it hasn't turned out that way, which is good.
Well, you're right. But what's been interesting too is seeing the big organizations come in, the investors and the printer companies all come in and say, all right, we want this market share, right? And so it's almost kind of if you are to pick us against them, it's those of us who are still in it to be these forces for good, be small business owners, and try to rally against those other organizations. And I thought initially too, I was like, oh man, they're coming in, they're these big names, they're going to try to like change the support model. And if anything, it's been worse every single time. And I'm getting more clients because they wanted to leave this relationship. I was talking to a potential client today, and I told them our story. I said, oh, we're family owned business, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, we're going to go with you then, because I will not go with one of those big guys. All right. Because we want the customer service. And that's what every one of these degenerates believe in, is that we go above and beyond. We are willing to customize our solution for our partners because we care about their business, sometimes even more than our own. Right? I mean, we're all MSPs. We've had that history. We've been told, oh, you've got to put it in a box. You've got to do this way or that way. And there really isn't a silver bullet that solves it for everybody. But there are those of us who really do believe in how can I actually customize my partnership to enable my client to be successful. And we all talk about it. Okay, well, how do you do it with yours, and how do you with others? And we're all in different areas, and different areas actually function differently too. But man, just being able to have people that have gone through it, who can actually empathize, not just sympathize with you, has been a huge benefit.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of our power comes from our ability to trust and collaborate. Through the lens of that there is an abundance here. A bunch of us have started to subspecialize. We do a lot with the CMMC or whatever they're going to call it in the future, and some with SOC, and some with this, and some with that. And are we an MSP? Am I a hybrid solutions provider? What's my identity? How can I help my fellow MSPs? How can I help these people? How can I help those people? And we
What do you
collaborate in
identify
such.
as, Mark? I need to know.
I identify.
Oh,
Hold
no.
on a second. So going down like the diversity inclusion route, that type of route. We have diversity in what talents all of us have. We're able to bring them together in a very large group, and problem solve and see different viewpoints that we normally aren't able to. So. I identify as a hybrid solutions provider. We are a C3 PAO candidate. We are not an MSP, but that doesn't mean we can't. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I'll think about that, Dawn. Thank you.
But I think we all see those issues in the industry between definitions and helping people adopt frameworks and the growth side of that. And I think one thing that's kind of been different about this group coming together is yes, everyone's kind of raw and authentic, but we're also approaching things from kind of an agnostic level of respect for every vendor, every person that's part of the group. And I think that's led to us attracting, I'm not going to name any names, but the caliber of people that we have into there to be able to help one another. It's a little unbelievable or surreal that you can quickly call out CEOs of large corporations within the group like that and get help. And I think one thing that's also been kind of a game changer for us is the fact that we don't allow sales in our group. There's no direct sales. And I think that's really changed the dynamic. So it's more of that personal relationship, community aspect to it, as opposed to people that, thank you, Roddy. It's really changed that dynamic. So that it's not, everyone knows that we're there not to be pitched. You're there to share with each other resources that are going to help one another and build that authenticity. And apparently toilet incidents.
Crimes. They've now been upgraded to a crime.
We were keeping it together really well for a while.
Yeah. I was thinking we'd make it about halfway through, but we got close.
No.
Louisiana had to be represented at some point.
Oh.
But I really do think that makes a big difference in the type of interaction that people expect in the group when you're not going to be pitched.
Yeah.
And that certainly isn't to say that we don't have things that, we share with each other and we get feedback on or what have you. Recently we had an event out here in DC, CMMC Day, which I know gets Mark all excited. And we kind of brought our own software tool out as its kind of inaugural, taste, if you will. And all these degenerates showed up, from all across the country to be there and to be supportive and to come check out our booth and to look at different things and to talk to different people about it. I know Mark came for me more than the rest of the event.
I am so proud of you, man. I'm just saying, I got so excited.
But again, that's the thing. I mean, we'll all jump on the plane in a second for each other, and not even ask questions. All right, and do have different causes. We even have our beautiful, wonderful Roddy in Louisiana running for school board, which is such an awesome thing, and we jump in and support him. I think we're a very non-threatening group, at least to other MSPs. I think we may be a daunting group to some vendors and other organizations, but that's because I think there's so much good to come out of this, and that our agenda is to receive good, and it's not a financial gain that we're all searching to get out of this. And Henry is, for those of you who know Henry, it kind of even surprises you that he is the ringleader that he is for us, because he's so silent but deadly, right? He's the guy who kind of just cruises around before he gets a few drinks in him, and and he holds back, but he has this power and influence for good that the degenerates have really been able to see and appreciate more and more every single day. And Henry's sacrifices and his example for all of us has just been tremendous. And so he is our fearless ringleader, and we're grateful that he does what he does on a daily basis for us.
Well, I think it's another example of how you guys show up authentically, right? You are who you are. You show up that way. You talk about it the way it is. You don't pitch stuff, but if somebody asks for a solution, you're going to recommend something, and you're going to say the good parts and the bad parts so that somebody can make a decision whether or not it fits their situation.
Oh yeah, and there's a filter, but it's not it's the holes in the filter are really big. I'm looking at the big group. We got a big group, and we got the Thursday night calls, and it's like there's some decorum. It's there, it exists, but it flexes quite a bit, and you could be talking about something fairly outrageous, like Roddy saying almost anything, or you can have a, hey, this just dropped, here's the thing, this is it's we're all talking about it, collaborating in a group, and then maybe 2 hours later someone's like, oh wow, it's now breaking news it's on Reddit and this and that. I'm like, well, we've already talked about it and we've had that discussion, and I find a lot of value in that, actually.
Yeah, because you guys have the finger on the pulse of, what's going on out there. And a lot of you, you experience these things that happen as they happen rather than waiting for the news. And so, if you guys are sharing that, I think that's great.
I think some of the times that we're actually finding things before they're hitting the news and we're starting to talk about them, and the, oh crap, is this really happening? Starts to happen, and then all of a sudden we start to see it prop up on Reddit, and then it goes further than that, and we're like, there went my morning.
Yeah, but it does show how important the MSP community is in the front lines of especially cybersecurity, right? Because these things are happening, and you are the ones who get the alerts from your RMM first, or your security software.
And I think that highlights the importance of community in general in our industry, whether that's ours or any other. There's so many that are out there, that the fact that you can find some group that you identify and can call home to talk with your peers and share kind of unabated all the good and bad, and share those news and the what works, what doesn't work, and help each other. I think it's just paramount for success.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
I think we need,
go ahead, Dawn.
touching on that a little bit more, the bad, right? We all have bad days. I want to make sure that everybody knows that if you're having a bad day and you just need somebody to talk to, if you're not one of the tech degenerates already, find one of us. We'll sit down, we'll have a conversation. We all need that outlet at some point. Mental health is a big thing in our whatever it is we do day to day. I'm not even sure what we're going to call it. Are we solution providers? Are we MSPs? We don't know. Mark's not sure what he identifies as right now.
I
So
don't
we're just
know.
going to have to figure that out as we go. But long story short, it is a stressful, miserable job a lot of the days of our lives. And having somebody to turn to say, look, this is what happened today, and unload a little bit, and to have them, like y'all said, empathize, understand truly what you're dealing with, going through the feelings that you're having, it's big. It's huge.
So
That's
Don brought up an interesting point in here, like, mental health, and that's one of the reasons that we do kind of what we do. And that's one of the reasons that why, we dress up as leprechauns and take pictures with, vendors that are this or that. It it makes us happy. It's what we like, and it's like, is that what we, thought we'd be doing 10 years ago? No. Is it what keeps us happy and grounded now? Absolutely, and that's what I think we ultimately are doing. I mean, when I see that Paul Vetter posts a video in the big group, and like I'm like, oh, I'm ready to get jazzed up. I'm ready for it, and I feel like a new person. Have you moved your body today? Like those are the things that I need in my life. And sometimes someone contributes something in a way that I didn't know that I needed until after I received it. And I've had people call me. I've called other people. I remember, I remember after I did my first, actual like webinar that I did the whole thing. I developed the content. I did this, that. So many people joined. I analyzed everything afterwards, and I used filler words 700 something times. Everyone said, "Mark, you did a great job. This, that, and the other thing, whatever." Darren messaged me. He's like, "Hey, we should talk." I spoke to Darren for about an hour, and he's just like, "Yeah, it was shit, and like, here's what you can do to improve." And like, I wrote it all down, and I've done a couple since, and I've improved. Like, that's the kind of stuff that is just it just happens. It's no one tries. There's no effort in it happening. It just happens organically, and that's what that's what I'm here for.
And
You know,
that's what. Go ahead, Juan.
I talk about things, where I talk about the quarter going in and a dollar coming out of your business. But I think the one undertone of who is it when you put yourself in your business, who do you come out as? And that's where this group really is real about the stuff that actually goes on as an operator or an owner of an organization, and thinking about who am I authentically, and like, how do I, like, I'm dealing with real stuff, like, and who do I turn to for that? This group tapped into that early on. And I think that that's what the real draw is for everyone else, is like, I don't have to be postured in my approach. I don't have to be pompous. I don't have to have this, this guise up of somebody that owns a business. I can truly be vulnerable. And I love that about this group, because some of the stuff that I have the opportunity, I wish there would have been this group when I was first building mine. Like, I went through a lot of shit early on, and I was like, I can't talk about this to anybody. Like, some days I just wanted to lose my shit officially and like just throw down the towel and be like, I'm done with this. But this is where this group, they pick each other up, and we pick each other up all the time, and carry people, and like, hey, here's the things that need to be happening over here. Here's how we can help, or here's some things to think about. That's what I love about this group. And they do not mess around. Like, if there's some tough love coming down, you're going to get it. Like, it's not real soft all the time. You're going to feel this one, but you need to hear those things. Like, to your point, like you said, Paul Vetter, like, he just tells you straight up how it is. And that's how we need to be sometimes. And, I was part of the weight loss group, and man, that was a great initiative to like get back and get healthy. Now, I didn't keep going. I need more of that, but it's probably because I worked too much. But it's wonderful to watch this group, how they've transformed things. Oh God, what's going on in here?
Well,
yeah.
and,
Just don't read the comments.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone said something about a metal detector, and I don't like that. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
And
whatever.
that's something
Maleficent.
that those of us who were doing this 20 years ago really didn't have, right? Was something like this. When I went to my first conference as an MSP, it opened a whole new door. Like that, the person who helped me with my first cyber incident was somebody that I met at a conference. And, I called him up and said, "Hey, dude, I got this situation going on. What do I do?" And he's like, "Let me jump in." And he just jumped in and helped me with it. And those are the kinds of things. And I really want to speak to the organic nature of this, because it really has just exploded organically. I mean, you guys, whatever you've done, just the secret sauce has just happened, and you guys have just become this magnet for people who are looking for help, and because it just works.
No, and I think that's amazing too, that we will have people come in and just, as I say, full kimono, share that they're going through a security incident and all the details, good and bad, about what that is. And, people then are able to either critique or provide help most of the time to what they need. And I think that level of trust is not something we find everywhere.
Yeah.
Some of it too is, one, we've either been there or we don't want to be there, or we're just willing to, sometimes when you're stuck in a hole, the only thing you really want is just a ladder and somebody be like, "Hey, I'll be right there. I'm going to come down and help you out." Right. And I think that's one of the most important things of any community that you get into, that you always know that somebody else has already been there and they're willing to help you out. Right. So anytime we're looking around, again, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, and I know you guys don't either. It's always awesome to find somebody else that has been there, done that, and you can learn from them. And that's what we have found here over and over and over again. And like every new person, even that we meet, is always somebody that we're learning something new from. They're learning something from us, and we're sharing it with everybody else. And it's just, community is so amazing. This tribe that has been created, like you said, organically, is really, really cool.
Yeah, Don, what do you say? We're not the type of people that would probably respond in all caps, right? We're not those people.
Yes, all caps, all of them. All the caps.
What I think is really cool too is that we've been able to be symbiotic with a lot of other great communities that are out there, and kind of assist one another in a lot of ways, which is fantastic. I think that much in the same way that we look at each other as MSPs, as we're not competition, that there's so much turf out there, that there's so much that we can learn and help each other with, that I think that's happening too on the community side of things, that everyone understands that, there's so much to be shared and gained there. And I think that on some of the vendor aspect of things too, that you have your more progressive vendors that understand now that the power is somewhat shifting a little bit back towards MSPs a little bit. And I think your more progressive vendors understand that and are looking for ways to engage MSPs in a way where they're listening a little bit more, and maybe giving a seat at the table where they wouldn't have before.
Yeah, in this environment, I believe, especially working on the vendor side now, that you have to have a degree of transparency and authentication like you guys are bringing in order to really capture the attention of MSPs, because they have choices now. I think the power, to your point, Henry, has shifted significantly. And speaking of new guests, we have Paul. So let me go ahead and...
Yes.
Oh, he's
He's
just
gonna
going to
ask a
come in and yell
question.
at us.
Have you?
Is
Yeah,
he
I was
in the
gonna
gym?
say. I haven't
Oh,
moved my body.
in
I
the gym.
haven't done it. I'm so sorry.
All right.
He must have
If
just
you say
finished
Paul's
moving his
name
body.
3 times, he
welcome,
appears, right?
Paul.
Thank you. So in typical, so I'm the enforcer, the wellness enforcer and kicker of asses at the Tech Degenerate group. I totally lost track of time because I had to finish my second workout, and I'm trying to crush my gallon of water for my program that I'm on, my 75 hard program. So I apologize.
We didn't lie about him, ladies and gentlemen.
I am here, and I was literally just out in the garage rowing, so I rowed for 45 minutes. So Tired.
You're
So
our
there's
hero.
all
Paul.
kinds of
You're our hero.
support in this group.
There is. There is.
Yeah. No, and I think like Paul brings a very real kind of center to people to bring us back, focus on both the physical and mental health aspects of things, of running our businesses and just being people. And I think that that's an important reminder that you don't see out there enough in our industry. He does a great job at doing that, and just being a great cheerleader for it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And really where that comes from, it comes from a place of me not being happy for a very long time and finding joy in kind of the mental toughness, the wellness and all that stuff. And really just working towards building the person that I wanted to become. And that came out of somebody else encouraging me. So that's why I'm doing it for others now, because it was somebody who encouraged me, and then I kind of dove in. So.
Well, it's important.
About-
Don brought up mental health earlier, and physical health. They all work together, and especially with so many of these small business owners having these frustrations and having this stress, the physical workouts and the mental health, I mean, it all works together to make you a better human. And the better you are at being a human, the more you can accomplish. Your productivity goes up, how you deal with other people improves. Relationships is a huge part of this business with your clients. And so, it all kind of meshes together.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
All right. So what else do we want to talk about? Because it got really quiet there for a second. Like, did we run out of things now that Paul's
I think
here?
we're all letting it sink in there.
Oh.
The gravitas of that statement.
Degley says
we
he's
spoke
moving
about
his body
trust.
tomorrow. He promises.
Degley's
promise, there you
on
go.
That's good.
One
But
of the
yeah,
things,
that's kind of
we
the
talked about
one-
trust.
Yes, we all try and talk at once here.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
So I think one thing that is really unique and awesome is and it plays into that authenticity and the transparency of the group, is the mental health aspect of that. Is I will let anyone else divulge their own, but like I've struggled with depression and anxiety as a business owner, and I medicate and see a psychiatrist for that, and having those open conversations with other people in this group about what they've gone through and their own struggles, because it's not something that you just solve. There's no magic pill that just fixes it, and having those ongoing conversations with people in the group, I think, is fantastic, and the fact that people can open up and share in that way.
Well, we all have different struggles, right? So, I mean, mine are different from Henry's, different from you guys, but it's freeing to be able to sit down and say, look, I have PTSD. I have that fight or flight thing that happens every now and then, and it's panic sets in for just a second, and sometimes you just need somebody to sit you down and say, yep, you're fine. We've got you. We're here. It's all good. Take a breath. You're fine. And it is. But it's that moment, like your brain knows everything's okay, but it lies to you. And having that group around you to be able to say everything's good. I know, right? So we've all had that. We've all had this happen in some fashion. But again, being able to be authentic and let people know that that is something that you struggle with is a big deal. Because when you do have an issue, or you're in a large group, or you just need an extra hand, say, I need help today, and somebody's right there. Yep, got you. We're there. And the other thing I do want to mention, if you guys haven't, you should really start talking to your vendors. There's a lot of them out there that are just as authentic, just as transparent
Yeah.
as we're being right now. So if you haven't done that yet, if you're not forming those relationships, please do, because there are so many good people in that group. just go out and find them, make them part of your tribe too.
And the beauty of this, if you can't tell, Eric, is I think there's a redefinition as everyone's trying to figure out what the new definitions are in the managed services space. This is a redefinition of community and support, right? This is a whole new level of authenticity, a whole new level of community, and it's just a much different version. Like, something I wanted when I was building my business. It was to be able to be very open and transparent. This is what led me to speaking about my program and my process and the way I do things, so I could share openly, looking for a tribe to hopefully be a part of, because I wanted to be like that. And these guys have done it. And it's really an amazing thing. So for those that are interested in joining, definitely come and check us out. It's something new and different, and a much, much different type of community, very engaging in all aspects.
I can't keep up with all the messages every day.
Yeah. Reagan, you wanted to say something.
Can I?
No, I was just going to say it, to that point, because we're all spread out all over the place, what's been cool is when we all get together, right? It's like Christmas. We're so happy to see each other and spend time with each other. But even when we go to other locations and maybe there's one or two of us that are there, we go out of our way to see each other, right? Recently, I was down in Florida and I made it a point to go see Paul, and Paul opened up his schedule to see me. And it was like one of the best lunches ever. And we just jump in as if we've been brothers forever, talking about all the great things of life. And we were supporting each other. And we talk about things that we probably haven't talked to a lot of people about, right? And so to Juan's point, it's this sense of community and support and love and understanding that really has made us a much better group. And our end goal, like, I know we keep on talking about this, really is to be forces for good, to help others, right? To bring everybody up, because why not? You know what I mean? Life's too short. How do we want to be remembered? We certainly don't want to be remembered like the people we don't like and the people who are just takers, right? I think sometimes we give a little too much, and we don't realize that we have to open ourselves to allow ourselves to be helped. And I think we're definitely getting better with that in this group. And I know for me, that's been my struggle, is my upbringing, my history has been put as much weight as I possibly can on my shoulders and keep going forward. And I found with this group that I actually can take some of that off of my shoulders and communicate it and get help where needed. And that's been a huge advantage for us.
And I think one of the things that kind of, if you want to boil that down, is like, and this is something that I'm big on, especially in the group, and people have heard me say this a lot of times, like, I want to take away all the bullshit. So I think that what we're doing is we're actually shoveling away all of the bullshit, and we're looking at the ground and going, oh my gosh, we're all standing on common ground here. Like, that's it. Like, so we clear away all that bullshit, and all we're left with is common ground. And I think that that's really important, especially nowadays where people groups, things are being divided, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. And I think that we need that more than ever today, because people are feeling lonely, and it shouldn't be that way.
I think one of the beautiful things about our group is that we could talk about almost anything. I mean, I've known JP, for example, for like going on a decade, and he saved my business like 9 years ago, and I don't miss a chance to remind him. But me and him were on a 6-hour car ride, 6 hours one way, 6 hours the other way, and we talked about everything, and we don't agree on everything, but we were able to exchange ideas and understand each other and things like that, and that's part of what it is. And even if it's just meeting someone for the first time in the lobby at an event and saying, "Hey, here's my rental car. You want to drive me around?" or something like that. There's you kind of know when you know. And with these guys, I know. Yeah, thanks, Paul. And then Paul lost my car, but that's a different story.
Or when Paul shows up out of nowhere in Orlando and rescues you while you're dressed up as a cowboy, knowing that you're probably going to get beat up under an overpass. That's always one of those.
Yeah, thank you.
That too.
Thank you for that.
So
I'm not sure if that's better or worse than I'm going to need you to shove some minions in an elevator. So,
Oof. And one of them's bleeding. That was after. Never mind.
one of them's bleeding. And then there was a dinosaur. So,
you guys are kind of known for your fun.
Unorthodox. Yes.
But that's
It's
part
the
of the
shenanigans for sure.
unconventional, authentic, nature.
We've done a lot of work, right? And how do we blow off just a little bit of steam and do it in a way that's fun for us, it's fun for other people, and it's not causing a true issue, right? So coming down to that point, right, it's just an easy way to blow off some steam, especially at the end of a conference is usually when the shenanigans start to come out more. But realistically, our brains have been in overdrive for 2.5 days. We've taken in probably more information than we're going to take in for the next 2 months, I hope. And being able to let off that little bit of steam is fun, quite frankly.
I think we were worried initially that it was not good, it was going to be frowned upon. Then it became an expectation, and so now we're stressed out a little bit every time we go to a conference because we get the organizers reaching out to us. Okay, so what are you going to dress up for this night? Wait, you're not doing it for this night? Well, what about that night? And and it's become a thing. Some of us have lines that we don't cross, like dressing up as the other gender, but some of us are okay with it, and that's okay.
I don't care, man. Whatever. as long as Henry's doing it with me, I don't give a whatever.
But it was funny for me when we first started dressing up. I grew up I was a very rigid rule follower. Like I just always followed the rules. I was kind of like a people pleaser. I followed the rules. So I was always that kid, like growing up in the friend group, that was always like in the background going, "Hey guys, do you think this is such a good idea?" And that's like when I first kind of got exposed to this group, I was like, is this a good idea? That's that same thing. Like, is this going to be frowned upon? I don't want to get kicked out. I'd love to be invited back to some of these events.
And I think that goes back to the initial discussion about the name is like, we're all so concerned about putting on a silly costume and having fun for an hour or two because of the precedence in the industry of how formal things typically are, how by the book. And, we just want to have fun like everyone else.
Yeah. And you do. And it's good fun, right? I think, Dawn, it was you who said, it's normally at the end of a conference, it's time to blow off steam. It's mental health, it's that opportunity to just, again, be authentic, and just be real and have some fun with it. But speaking of, what is the next big event that you guys are going to be at? Do you know?
Together?
He thinks we organized this. This is hysterical. We all kind of just figure it out as we go. No,
I know, but there's some common events that I know a lot of people go to.
Yeah, I think we're kind of cautiously approaching things at this point, just to make sure that we have everyone's blessing before we do anything. But I do know that you will see us as a group at ChannelCon for CompTIA.
Okay. I might be there. No, I will definitely be there.
I would hope that you're going to be there.
I think we might be there.
I have
Henry,
some obligations.
Henry, I'd go so far as to say you could definitely see us, messing around at like Exchange Security. I mean, that's going to happen too. I don't know if we've picked costumes yet for that, but what I can say is that we definitely want other people to to join in the fun and the games, and this is not like someone came up to me a few months ago and said, "How do I join your exclusive club?" And it was a little sarcastic, and I was like, "Oh, you're misunderstanding. We don't have this level of organization that you think we do, but also at the same time, we want to welcome people into whatever community we've, I guess, created. So if you're not involved, get involved, and we'd love to have you.
Hey, you just need to be on the circuit. It's totally fine.
Gotta be on the circuit. Very important.
Gotta be.
If we put you through some initiation, rituals and stuff, but it's not a big deal. You know, it's not a big deal. You just drink the blood. That's all you got to do.
And you have to
While
spend
in a
30
minion
minutes karate.
costumes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? You know, whatever.
So what you're saying is there's an initiation.
No.
Yeah, sure. No,
No,
yes.
not
Let's. Yeah. No, not at all.
There
Not
are
a
challenge
$20
coins. You're going to get a challenge coin. One could have a lizard or it could have an apple. You never know which one it's going to be.
Oh, jeez.
No,
The
but
initiation
in all
is just being a good
seriousness,
person.
I think as long as you're a good person, not an uncle, and like you want good for other people, then I think that you find someone that's in the group and you'll find a way in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go with an uncle, then you can't be a Karen. And so it's either one of those.
We've defined those now. Good. Okay, that's out.
Oh, and of course we have Matt Lee in the house. He's been commenting along, and he's like, "Ha ha ha!" The circuit. Well, if anybody knows the circuit, it's that guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's definitely on the
Man,
circuit
everywhere.
for sure.
Worst offender.
I am.
I don't know how he does it.
Missing the circuit a little bit this year, but hopefully that'll change.
What's your next event that you're at?
I think. Well, Exchange is after ChannelCon, so I guess ChannelCon first.
Okay. Awesome. And I would venture a guess that you're speaking at ChannelCon.
Yeah. Just a little.
Can you share what you're speaking about yet, or?
That was the prompt. That was the prompt. You should tell us what you're talking.
I know. Welcome, by the way. So we now have a full house. Brian filled out the house.
Team Cincinnati comes in at the last minute. I love it. Go Reds.
So, as some of you know, customer experience is a big thing for me. Whether it's customer experience between the MSP and their client, whether it's that experience, or whether it's the experience of the vendor and the MSP partner. That experience, that journey, and how you look at that is part of what I'm going to be talking about. But primarily, it's going to be matching up a customer journey. This is the MSP's customer, to a framework that you can then use to develop the business that matches what you want out of it, rather than going to somebody else's framework, what somebody else thinks a successful business should look like. How do you take the different steps of the customer journey and make that into the business that you want to run and delivers the things that both you need, your clients need, and your employees need, because all three of those people have to be in sync to make it work well.
Sounds awesome.
Love that. Yeah, that's great.
I'm excited.
It's going to be a good one, man. I'll be there.
And Mark, thanks for having pants on.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say? What'd you say? Didn't hear you.
Nothing. We're grateful
I
you're
had to run and get my Brian Rushman head. It was very important to me to find that. It's extraordinarily important. It was upstairs. This one is damaged, but that's okay. The real one is damaged too. So
I'm pretty sure that one. Got arrested in Times Square. So
yeah, arrested in Times Square. Went to Orlando.
Just only slightly arrested. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fake arrested. Whatever.
Yeah, it was fake arrested. You went for a cab ride.
I did. Yeah, that was fun. But always have you with me. You're actually in the closet. Never mind. I'm not going to go into that. Throw you under the desk there.
Yeah, I think that would have taken us in a different direction, Mark.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good save.
There's no shenanigans in this group at all.
No.
Well, if there wasn't, it wouldn't be as much fun as it is.
Very true. Very true.
All right. Well, we have managed to do this for a whole hour already.
Well, I appreciate you allowing us to come on and share some time with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this group, you know, like I said at the beginning, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of the people in this group. Everybody on this call, I've been able to meet in person and hang out with, you know, at the different events. And it's just a great group. And if you're really looking for people who, I guess the best way I want to put this is they just care, right? If you want to find a group of people that care about you as a person, not just your business or trying to get something out of your business or out of you, this is the group. This is the group to be a part of. And, you know, I would love to make it on Thursday nights. Most of the time I can't. Henry, I need you to write me a note to my wife so that I can join on Thursday nights.
We could arrange
Done.
something.
Done.
You know, so like a virtual kidnapping.
Yeah, Eric will be available at
Yeah.
Some of those calls, though, I will warn you. Some of those go until 2 a.m. I've never had a Zoom call for a group go 4+ hours.
Well, but that just, again, it speaks to that organic, whatever it is that makes that group special. That's what it is. People are willing to be on there for 4 hours. You can't fake that.
Signal, and then be on Signal for another 2 hours after that. I mean, it just really keeps going. And then Henry will wake up 30 minutes later. It's just, it's amazing.
Yeah. Tom Wyatt wakes up and he's up at 4 a.m. and, you know, someone's going to bed at 3. So it's like a 24-hour
marathon.
So Henry, if somebody wants to find out more about the easy for me to say, right? The Tech Degenerates, how do they find out more?
So you can find us on Facebook or LinkedIn or the techdegenerates.com. Or probably the best way is actually to reach out to someone in the group that you know. There are a lot of us, and they will help steer you the right direction.
Awesome. Well, anybody else have any last words?
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Thank
You guys are welcome.
Yes, thank
in
you.
all things MSP all the time.
Appreciate you.
Well,
Thank
we all
you, man.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
So thank you very much. All right. Well, let me wrap this up real quick. All right. So a great show tonight. Really appreciate the Tech Degenerates being here. They're a great group of people. I just can't expand on that too much because they just go out of their way to help other people, have fun, and just be there when you need them. So check out the Tech Degenerates. It's a great group. If they're around at an event that you're at, and by the way, you should be going to events. If you're not going to events, at least one per year, you really should. It will change your business. Trust me, it did for me. But, you know, all that aside, check them out. You know, they're very approachable. I think JP said that in the comments. So check them out. Go to an event. Be part of this community. Whether it's all things MSP, whether it's Tech Degenerates, find something to be a part of because that's why a lot of these communities exist. It's to help you out. All right. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and do me the favor of liking, subscribing, and if you want to see more of these, go ahead and ring that notification bell because then you'll know when these things get posted. And don't forget to check out every Tuesday. We do a podcast as well. I do it with Justin Escar and, you know, just great banter there. Kind of like the stuff that you saw tonight with MSPs, with vendors. With that, have a great evening, everybody.